So are you trying to essentially tell us that Asia is in a better position to weather the inflation concerns, the inflation worries? And if that's the case, would it be a good time to buy into Asia right now? Because many of these markets are oversold.
Well, at Nomura, we believe that that's the case, and we see upside double-digit in Asia ex-Japan. We see double-digit upside in Japan for this year. And I think one thing that's very interesting is if you are a global investor and you're trying to hedge inflation, how do you do that? How do you generate, let's say, an income for your investor that beats inflation? Well, the answer is to go for dividends that can grow quickly. And in the case of Japan, for example, what we found is that over the course of the last 2 or 3 years with COVID, companies in Japan have not cut dividends to the same extent that those companies have done in the West. So I think in terms of an inflation hedge, Japan gives you that. The issue, of course, we've got is the exchange rates have been weak.
Where are you getting your optimistic view on what kind of performance you're expecting for Asia this year? I mean, when are we going to see the turnaround? Because for the moment, it seems like if you've got a seesaw, like the seesaw on the negative side is so firmly bolted down here, it's very difficult to see it managing to swing back.
Well, you kind of put words into my mouth. I mean, optimistic is a contextual thing. A lot of the investors that we interact with at Nomura, they have a mandate to be invested in equities. So if you have to be in equities, what's the best of a bad bunch? And if interest rates are rising globally, that tends to have a negative impact on company valuations. But within the context of that global universe, what we're seeing in Japan right now, and we're going through the AGM season, which is quite pivotal for Japanese companies, what we're seeing is, and we're not hearing about this, but we're seeing it with our analysts having engaged with these companies, we're seeing local activist investors agitating for change in terms of management, in terms of capital structure, in terms of money going back to shareholders. That gives us confidence. If you look at share buybacks in Japan, they're at the highest level they've ever been in 20 years. And again, that's indicative that management is confident about the future. And that reflects some of the capital expenditure numbers we're seeing in Japan. But I think the reason we're not seeing, let's say, the performance from Asia that might be merited given these fairly positive fundamentals is that Asia, within the context of the global universe, is just not that big. I mean, Japan was 45% of MSCI World back in the late 1980s. Today, it's less than 6%. So I think if you're a global manager, you're really concentrating on that negative news, which is coming out of the US and Europe.